And you guys didn't see it. We also have Eric Reynolds, who's representing Ward 8, and Roberta Rogers, who might be in soon, who's representing Ward 4. Jessica Travis is also in Ward 4. So we have a lot of representation from across wards here, which is good. Let's see.
Did any of you guys go to the parade this weekend?
Oh, hey, you know what? It looks like it says YouTube up now in the live streaming service. Summer, does that mean we're good?
One second.
Larissa, I walked in the parade today, or not today, oh my gosh, on Saturday, and it was lovely. It was a really good time.
That's cool. I was there. I was like, that's probably the best one I've ever seen.
You can
So,
go ahead and
um,
start the meeting.
Oh, nice. So it's a big parade, or?
Yeah, it was the bicentennial parade.
Oh, right. I saw pictures of it. I didn't get a chance to go down. I was out of town.
It was super cool. I was behind the Elmo inflatable the whole time, and it was lovely.
Oh, Roberta's here. So real quick, before we call the meeting to order, Roberta, in the meeting you'll see Kiara and Kevin, Kiara Warren and Kevin Smith. They're new commissioners we're proposing. They have to be run through city council, but they're joining our meeting now, so they won't be voting. Kiara is an artist from Akron, and Kevin Smith is a business consultant. I believe he said Transcorp Solutions, whose background's in finance. So if you want, feel free to introduce yourself to Kiara and Kevin real quick.
Hi, my name is Roberta Rogers, and I work for the City of Akron Parks and Recreation. And I was in the parade also that Megan was talking about. Welcome, and it's great to have you here.
Awesome. Thanks, Roberta.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call to order the Wednesday, July 9th, 2025 Public Art Commission meeting. And we're going to go ahead and start by covering the meeting minutes. So we have meeting minutes that Summer sent out, which in the last meeting we had motion and approved for Haley to prepare. So we have meeting minutes from January 8th, 2025, March 12th, 2025, April 9th, 2025, and June 11th, 2025. And I went ahead and read all these minutes. I don't have any issues with the minutes the way they were taken. If someone would like to motion to approve the meeting minutes from these 4 months, please go ahead and make a motion to approve. Or if anyone has any comments on the meeting minutes or any discrepancies they saw, feel free to present.
And make a motion to approve.
So John Fuming makes a motion to approve the January, March, April, and June meeting minutes. Can we get a second?
I second it for the 4 months.
So Larissa Brown seconds to approve. Any comments before we? No? All right, so all in favor, say aye.
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 Hi.
Okay, so that's enough commissioners. We have quorum. So Summer, we went ahead and motioned to approve all those meeting minutes that you sent out. All right, so the next thing we want to cover is old business. So we did introduce the commissioners, new commissioners who need to be passed through city council still, Kiara Warren and Kevin Smith. So we want to jump in. We wanted to get updates on the traffic box installation progress. So I've noticed it looks like most of them are up. Summer, I don't know if you have any specific updates on the traffic box installation progress.
Can you all see the agenda? I'm sorry.
I can, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to put that up there for everyone. Nope, so the traffic signal boxes, all 20 have been installed. They all have the labels with all of the artists. And they also have the QR code for the Public Arts website. I've been getting a lot of good feedback from the community that they love it. I did want to make mention, let me see, is that, oh, never mind. That's when we get to the work plan. But yeah, everything has been installed for this first round. So I know that we're going to start working on the second round. That's about it.
Nice. Cool. So in terms of like locations in the company, for the second round traffic box installation progress, did you get any communication from legal that we'd be able to proceed with Central Graphics as the contractor for the second bit?
I did reach out to legal. I had to provide them some information, which I did. So I'm just waiting to hear back from them. Their biggest concern was there an end date on the contract? I did not see one. So once they come back and confirm everything, we may be able to use them again without doing another RFP. But if they find something different or if they research something different, then we may have to do an RFP. So it takes a little time for law to get back, but I have all the information sent to them.
Okay, and if you need a new RFP, we still have the template from last time, so it should be essentially like equivalent RFP to release. So we could probably provide legal the same one, just updated dates, right?
Yes, they have all that information, but yes, you're right. One
Okay.
thing is, did I tell you guys about the vinyl, the company that did the vinyl for the wraps, that they're located in Stowe, and that one of the employees that works for the vinyl company lives over by Garmin and Hawkins, where that traffic signal box is. Did I tell you guys about that? No?
No.
Okay. Well, she saw the vinyl wrap and she reached out to a couple companies as, what company did this, and Central Graphics had reached back out to them and said we did. And they had asked what vinyl did they use. And it was the vinyl from her company. She's an employee of the company. And so she and I had a conversation, and we're going to be showcased in their trade magazine, I think at the end of the year. So
Oh,
City of
that's super
Akron,
cool.
Akron Public Arts Commission. I provided all of your names, um, as well as Central Graphics will be highlighted in their trade magazine at the end of the year.
That's good press. That's
Graphics.
really cool that they just
I
happened to
thought I
reach out
told
for
you
that.
like that. Yeah. Yeah. My apologies.
Oh, no worries. So in terms of the locations, I know that you had sent out information previously on locations. So I knew we were looking at to get information again. I personally did not look at any locations between the last meeting and this meeting. So I know it's something we have to start talking about again. I thought it would be nice to start conversations about how potentially how many boxes we'd be looking to do per ward again. I know that there was like the tentative amount that John made a motion to approve in the last meeting, and there was a certain amount of traffic boxes listed under that. And so it makes sense to take a look at the work plan and kind of like determine how many traffic boxes we might want to do per ward, or decide whether we want to look at the public art database and strategically just tackle the locations with the most high traffic areas. Um, so I thought I would leave that up to commentary by the commission. I hadn't proposed anything specific yet. The other thing is in the work plan itself, I think there was a discrepancy between the work plan we approved and the actual balance that we had for current year funds. I believe it was an immaterial difference, like it was very small. But Summer wanted to make sure that we knew the difference between the balances, and that was for our funds that were donated, not for the funds from the city. Summer, do you have information on that specifically?
Yes, give me one moment, please. I'm trying to pull everything up. It
Uh,
looks like we were $3,500
Yeah, Roberta, do you have a
in the
question?
good. Um, Central Graphics did, so the initial contract, it was like a little higher. We were technically paying like $32,000. But when I looked over the numbers again last week, I was just looking over numbers. I noticed that they charged us, instead of 1366.84 a box, I think they charged us like 1,200 a box, which saves us like $3,500.
Yes, we essentially have more money left over, is what Summer's saying. But that's a part of not of the 50K coming in from the city, but a part of the money that we actually had left in reserve from the donated funds, by the way. So that
Okay.
would just be more money that we don't necessarily need to spend for contingent projects. So my opinion on that is that we should focus on spending the money on the new traffic block projects using the funds incoming from the city, and then reserve the $3,500 for special projects or maintenance, etc., as we see
Well,
fit.
it's not really reserving the 3,500. So if you look at, can you guys all see this breakdown?
No, it's not on your
I'm not
screen if
sure
you're
how my
presenting.
screen is sharing with what it's sharing.
Oh, no worries.
What do you see on your screens right now?
Just the agenda.
Do you see dollar amounts now?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to take a minute, guys, I'm sorry about that, to go over what our finances look like right now. As you see, 2020, we had the donation. Between 2023, when we approved Art X Love and when it was completed 2025. So it was, we approved the end of 2023. So they were fully paid out. They're 48,500. I broke down the traffic signal boxes for paying the artists 5,000, Central Graphics. It turned out to be $23,536.73 instead of the $27,336.73. So that's where we saved the $3,500. And then we paid Haley the two amounts. So technically, we've only spent $77,246.73 out of the 100,000, which leaves us with the balance of 22,753 and 27 cents. So that's what we have left from the $100,000 donation. On top of the $50,000, we now have what is it, 72,753.27. And in our if you look at the work plan,
Yeah, so it'd be the starting prior year balance, which all came from the donations. That amount would be different, is what you're saying?
yes,
Okay.
instead of the $19,000, you have $19,163.27 as a carryover balance from donated funds, not from general funds. Instead of the 19, now we have 22.
Yeah, great.
So I
Yeah,
just need
so
to
essentially, we're not getting 3,500. That was improper language. Essentially, we have 3,500 that we just didn't spend on the contract with Central Graphics. And
Yeah.
that's that donated fund, it's at our discretion to use for projects, by the way. So as I was saying, I kind of think that we should focus on the spend, that we got from the city in terms of new projects and finding ways to allocate that, especially considering that I think Summer went back to the city. And so I'll actually talk about the public art inventory too, because that's the next thing on the agenda after this work plan update. We went back to Mac and we decided that instead of doing a full year contract with Mac, Summer needed time to talk to the GIS department and talk about how we're going to split out funding in terms of maintenance of the GIS database for the public art inventory and whether it'd be more appropriate to have Mac do that or GIS based off of the spend. But since we don't have enough information on the spend yet from GIS department, Summer doesn't have enough information from GIS, we wanted more time, but we still want to make sure that we're maintaining the public art inventory, like with, the new traffic boxes that are getting updated. We want to get access to the inventory, and we also need information in order to start the maintenance plan to understand which pieces are going to need conservatorship versus other repairs and to be able to get more information on this. And so I proposed and we accepted, essentially getting a contract from Mac that would be 6 months. So essentially just through the end of the year. So the contract would end at the end of 2025. And then looking at renewing in the next year, either a contract with Mac or getting more information about the spend for GIS and potentially adjusting Mac's contract to just provide advice going forward if we retain Mac next year. And then putting the GIS services with our city GIS. Roberta, you have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry, because you're going forward, and I just wanted to go back for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. I
About the
forgot you had a comment.
boxes.
My bad. I forgot to return to you.
Yeah. Oh, the boxes on East Exchange Street, they've just remodeled or redesigned the whole structure on East Exchange Street, and they have a brand new traffic box on the corner of East Exchange and Kern Street, which is begging for a wrap. And also Sharon Connors, the ward lady, she was talking about Britton Road before, near Cyberlink School. So there's lots of good locations for wraps. That's what I'm saying.
Roberta, are you able to email those out
Yes,
to
I
me
will.
and to the rest of the commission so that we have
Okay.
visibility on it as like suggested locations? Because that's always helpful when we go to talk about it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks.
Okay.
So Summer's actually showing on screen now the new proposal. Summer, do you want to share it since you're the one who communicated with Mac?
Oh, I'm sure. Well, this is just the updated proposal. I went and had a conversation with Matt based off the conversation that we had at our last meeting. And I asked if we could just do from July to December. And he said that was totally fine. Um, and he sent this updated proposal to us. So it's not the 15, what was it, 18,000 before? Now it's still the 8 hours a month, but the budget comes out to be 7440. Um, and this will include everything. This will include the GIS. This will include updating the our inventory with all the traffic signal boxes. So he'll go back out and take the pictures of all the traffic signal boxes. Pretty much anything and everything that the public arts need within his 8 hours per month. They'll be able to do the work.
Yeah. And I believe Mac also mentioned that they would be willing to do actual conservatorship as well. So if we develop the maintenance plan, not only would they be able to help consult us on the development of the maintenance plan with their suggestions based off of what they saw, but since Mac's actually a conservator for public art, he's somebody we could also retain on these hours to do some of the maintenance for the paintings and other things we discover require conservatorship. So I think that our idea last meeting, and I talked to Eric wanted to join this too, and John, I think you were off after then. We wanted to set up a meeting with Mac to start looking at the geo database. I'm talking to Summer about getting access to the public art database now to run reporting. We wanted to see essentially which piece, what kind of pieces were damaged, and we wanted to kind of see what were the high value pieces, what were the big ones, the categories, right? Maybe murals, things like that. Pull those out and kind of start taking a look at the pictures and what kind of scope of work is going to be required for maintenance of some of these pieces before we started putting together a formalized plan. That way, we're not creating the plan without information about what actual damage occurred to these pieces, right? And so we want to get advice on that. And since we're, in the work plan, it said we were going to pay Mac for the whole year, but the work plan didn't get approved until halfway through the year. Now we have this updated contract with Mac. Summer, do we need to vote on accepting this contract, or we voted last time to accept the contract, but it's just for less months, right?
You voted last time to accept the last proposal,
Yep.
but we wanted to talk to Mac to see if he could start. It wouldn't be the full year, it would just be the rest of the year.
So we're
So
good, right? We don't need to motion to
John,
approve this.
what are your thoughts, John?
No, when did we vote to extend his?
At your last June meeting, I know you guys had conversation about it and you wanted to go ahead with Mac, but we wanted to talk to him about starting in July versus the full 12 month.
Yeah, but I mean, we actually voted on this on the larger proposal, right?
I can't,
I
Yeah,
don't
we
recall doing that. That's
I
why.
would think, I would
Yeah,
say
John,
just
I
vote
think you were
today.
out of the meeting, but we did vote and have quorum on accepting the proposal for the 6 months, not the larger proposal.
At last month's
Why don't
meeting.
you vote again?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you do have to, given the fact that we are modifying the contract or the proposal, then yes, we need to take that to a vote.
Yeah, so we can do that. Does anyone have questions on the details of the contract? I know we covered this in the last meeting, but if anyone wants a moment to like ask questions, John or anyone else.
Well, I haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
I don't want to consume time here. So, and given the fact that it's already been approved, I'm gonna abstain from my vote anyhow. So,
Okay.
yep.
Well, I mean, this is the same exact contract as you guys saw before the past couple months. It's just where you see option one, the hours just modified. This is July through December versus he had, I think,
Yeah, it was for a full year, and now it's just modified. So essentially, it's the same rate, the same exact rate, and so the budget's on a similar. It's on the same exact basis. It just has a new deadline, which is the end of the year. Because I thought it would be nice to start the contract so it aligns with our fiscal year.
so I'm going to show you hold on one second, Matt. I mean, Andy.
And then it also gives us a chance to reevaluate at the beginning of our fiscal year if we want to retain him for the rest of the services or do an adjustment to the rates after 6 months. So you could also think of it from like an indirect procurement standpoint, kind of like a period to evaluate max services and the value over 6 months through the end of the year, and then evaluate whether we want to transfer services to GIS or retain MAC for other services going forward for the Public Art Commission.
Okay, Andy, hold on one second. So this
So
was
now
the
it's
original one that you guys all had access to, where he was showing the 14,000
okay.
dollar one. And then, sorry, I'm just trying to toggle through all these screens and figure this out
Yeah.
for you guys. So bear with me.
And so this one says annual. So this one would just be 1 year from the time the contract's accepted versus the other contract is set for specific time, which is July through December. So we get 8 months starting this, 8 hours starting this month essentially. And then we also have more money left over for the contingent projects for this year.
And I guess what I would suggest,
Mhm.
okay, so this is the new one, right?
Yep.
What do you?
So 8
I'm
hours.
looking at my screen. I don't know what you guys see. So does this
No,
new
Summer,
one
we
say
see
that?
it. We see the new
Andy,
contract right
Andy,
now.
hold on one second.
7,440.
Is it okay? Thank you.
So what I would suggest, do I see is there an end date on this?
Yeah,
It
December
says
2025.
Yeah, I would get rid of that end date of December 2025. And I would just go ahead and say we're buying whatever. You can say it's 8 hours a month, right?
So
So
you're, so John, are you just saying that we just do the hours instead of the
yeah,
time frame?
I want flexibility because we're not really good at keeping our stuff together sometimes, and sometimes there's things that happen that is outside of our control, Larissa. So I'm much more saying, hey, we'll buy this block of time from you, and we'll use it as our, so that we don't get to December and be sitting on some time that we haven't used up yet, or we end up, I just like to have that open-ended contract. Um, just give us that flexibility.
The thing I like about having the close-ended contract with the close date is that we get a chance to reassess the contract provisions and terms. And so this is implying that we're paying MAC for the geodatabase. But if we wanted to switch the services over, we would then have to have something written into the contract about how the contract could end in terms of legal. So there's nothing written into this contract about what warrants the contract ending. So I would want to see language in the contract about how the commission could potentially vote if we remove the end date and the specific terms centered around how the contract would end, whether it be on commission vote or otherwise. So I don't mind the flexibility, but if we don't have the end date, I would want to see what the contractual terms for ending the contract are.
Or I
But
would
I
just
think
do,
that this gives
or
us
it
a
could just
chance to also revisit and see, if we want to transfer services to GIS, then we could actually change all the contract terms at that point too. But I understand what you're saying that there might be a delay time where then we have no services for 2 or 3 months if we find the services very valuable. That gives us flexibility in just doing a month to month. Is that what you're saying?
Hey, John, go ahead and do your
yeah.
thought.
Or I'm just saying we just buy a block of, yeah, I was just trying to keep it open, period. And I would also, or we also just say, is this the amount, I mean, how do we know? Is this the amount of hours that we need? He's telling us
Yeah.
the amount of hours that he needs to do this deliverable. I have to see the proposal again.
So, Summer, is there anything in the contract provision that we get refunded unused hours on a monthly basis?
I can't answer that question right now because law has to do the contract. It's not
Well, law
me.
has to do it, but
So,
we as the commissioners are like making a vote on it. So just for us to see if I would have to take a look at it again then I guess. I guess I would also want to see to John's point, a contract provision that, because legal could approve it and say it's good, but then that doesn't mean that we didn't look at the contract. There should
well,
be
it
a
would be,
contract
it
provision
would,
that we get
it's
refunded
your
hours that aren't
discretion
used.
to, even the one before, right? The one that you guys had before, you guys have to come up with what information you want to put in there. And then I'll send it over to law, and then law will determine if that's
Yeah.
the right information that can be put on, put in the contract because they have to protect the city, right? So I understand what you're saying, but I need all that in writing of what you guys want to see in the contract, and then I can forward that over to our law department.
Well, I like John's idea of it being flexible so that we don't have to worry about it, but I just want to understand anyone else's opinion and John's opinion on how we're going to determine that the contract ends. So how would we determine whether or not we want the service on an ongoing basis? So just formatting it more. So maybe this is something to defer to next month, but then we would have to update the contract again for the timeline, because if we're not accepting it for this month, then we're not getting the services this month, essentially, if that makes sense.
So I think you guys should talk about it now so that we're not going back and forth every month trying to figure it out. We need to lock it in. If you guys are going to have a discussion on when you want them to start, I think you do have to have an end time per our law contract, you have to have an end date. So if you even want to push it out to, say, June 2026, that's up to your discretion. You can put that type of language in the contract.
And
But
if
I
we
don't
have
think
to
we
have
can,
an end
and
date, then
hold
I
on,
think
Andy,
that this is
hold on,
fine
Andy.
personally.
I don't think we can, I mean, if you guys provide me what you want the contract to state, I can forward that to law. So get it in writing, send it over to me. I'll submit it up.
Yeah, I'm just sure in terms of the procurement process, that's what law is gonna ask about. John has a good point about the use of the hours. So if we, having a contract that we're paying for 8 hours, but then Mac only does like 6 hours, or if we need 10 hours, John's saying there's no provision where we could essentially get a refund for the hours or use two more the next month because we don't necessarily know what we're gonna need on a monthly basis.
This is a month to month. I mean, this would be a monthly payment. So if they were to only do 6 hours, they would only get paid for 6 hours.
So it's based on the rate up to 8 hours. So eight's the maximum, and that's how legal's also interpreting it.
Me doing
So
the invoices, if someone only works 8 hours, if someone only works 6 hours, we can't pay for 8. So
But we
if
don't
they
know enough about the procurement
the
process
invoice
or
for
what that says is all. I
the,
mean, here it just says they'll work 8 hours, but there has to be like a system for. I'm not trying to make it stressful. I'm just pointing out that the contract doesn't necessarily mean that. So,
no, no. So the conversation that I had with Mac was, since I would do the billing, you're not making it
okay.
stressful. I'm just trying to understand what you're asking for and so forth. But Mac would send me an invoice every month of their hours and what they've done, what they've completed. Then that's how we would pay them. It's
Okay.
not me going off of this saying, oh, in July they did 8 hours. I'm not assuming. I need an invoice from everybody that does any type of work for the commission or for the city. An invoice telling me what was done, how many hours,
Okay.
and the balance.
Well, I guess in that regard, in good faith, I think that we would use the 8 hours, and I think that Mac would use the 8 hours responsibly to update things. And so it's only 6 months and it fits in our budget. So I'm okay with actually, and if it has to have an end date, I'm okay with accepting this contract or putting a motion to it personally, at least for now. So if we want to take a vote for it, if someone wants the motion to approve, or if John, if you want to try to defer it to next month or have a conversation about it, let's talk about it now.
I got a question. I'm like,
Yeah.
I will have to go back and read the contract to see exactly what he's putting within those. Because if it's 8 hours for the next 6 months, that's going to go us about 48 hours. What are we looking to have exactly with those 48 hours?
Yeah,
What are
so
we
that would
looking to
be
have
the
done?
public art inventory management, which is the work like similar to what he was doing to create the database,
Right.
managing it, putting new things into it, and also helping us, advising us, like helping us with the creation of the maintenance plan based off of his understanding of the data he collected, and then also helping potentially with conservatorship. So if we find like 5 or 6 pieces that we see need to be prepared by a conservator, like paintings, we could actually have Mac on the same hours go out and conserve the pieces or help de-access the art in a professional way. So those would be, and then all of that plus what Summer actually has here under the objective, it lists out all of his services right here.
So
And
we
this
as
is
a commission need
also
to have a time where we're going to meet with him also, so we can make sure that we're doing what we need to do in a timely fashion, so he can keep the work going.
Yeah, that's correct.
right. And then also you as a commission, I mean, he's laying out his objective and his rates of what he can do, his services. As a commission, you have to say, this is what we want done. This is your money. So he's telling you what he can do. It's up to you guys to say, this is what we want. We want the top 5 or 10 pieces of art, to be reviewed. The worst of the worst top 10. We need to report that out, see what needs to be done, how much it's going to cost to either fix it or remove it. We want the traffic signal boxes included into the inventory. Like you guys have to build out what you want Mac to do. I mean, our ex love to do.
So yeah, that's correct, Summer, but I don't think we need to write that into a contract. I think the way these bullet points here
Exactly.
are broad. So I think that answers your question of what you need to give legal.
Mhm.
I think we can go with these bullet points so that it just kind of keeps it open-ended. And so we can tell him like, update the data book, the database with the traffic boxes, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And then, so I think that's the information that you need. As I
Mhm.
look at this real quick,
Yeah, it says budgeted hours don't roll over year to year, and that we are paying for 8 hours per month that roll over and expire at the end of the year. It says that in the
yeah,
contract.
so I think my only thing is, if this is I would just like to see changed. If this is supposed to be for 6 months, I would like to just see this changed to 48 hours total.
Yeah, without an expiration date on the end, so we don't have to worry about the year to year rollover thing, and we can just use the hours flexibly.
Well, but where does it say that it ends December 31st?
It says it says retainer basis from July to December 2025 down there above where Summer
Oh,
had the table, the rates. So the proposal date isn't,
that's a
it's above
proposal
the
date.
rates.
That's a proposal date, and then
Summer, it's above the rates.
so scroll down, Summer.
It's directly above the
Oh,
rates
I
right
see, I
there.
see, I see. Okay, so the public art commission has the following pricing option to work on a retainer from July through December. So I would just, I mean, I'm sorry about all the noise.
No, you're good.
It's not the worst thing. Um, it's our, to Summer's point, it's our job to make sure that we're giving him enough work to do. But my preference would be for us just to say we're buying 48 hours worth for $7,440 and then leave it at that.
I like that idea too, because then we get to use it flexibly. We don't have to worry about a year to year rollover. Um,
Well, I don't know.
yeah.
Like, I think of stupid stuff happening that's outside of our control, and like, or he gets sick and he can't, then we got to go back or whatever it may be. Um, Most likely we'll have no problem using all this up by December, but it's just that would be my only edit, and otherwise I think we're good to go.
It's essentially the same contract too if you change to 48 hours. It's just that we're determining the budget and where the hours are spent on a month-to-month basis through the end of the year. So we can do the same thing, is what John's saying. But then we get to flexibly determine where the hours are used. I agree with that. I think that's a better contract provision than just doing the 8 hours a month and then we always have to pay for all the eight
I
hours.
haven't read the other page about all the details there, terms and conditions, all that kind of stuff, but I think all of that is fairly typical. Talks about how he's going to bill us out-of-pocket expenses unless otherwise stated. Fees do not include outside purchases, printing. So like, okay, so unfortunately I'd have to ask him about this. It does not include photography, video. What does that mean? Because if he goes out and takes pictures of the traffic boxes that are not in the database at this point, are we getting an additional charge?
Yeah, it needs to be more clear in the contract. That's a good point.
Payment, dates are fine. Oop.
But I
Okay.
thought when we discussed it with him, even before we got the traffic boxes done, he said that would be part. I thought he was saying that was going to be something that he was going to include um, for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I agree with
Those,
that. It's just that that's verbal and not in writing, you know? The in
yeah,
writing says right here, according to John, it doesn't, there's no definition for photography. And so technically, if he takes photographs, he could just send us an invoice for the work if we authorize it. So,
because we can use that part of the hours since we didn't. The hours are broad enough that we can be able to do that. Correct.
well, it says here that there could be a standard agency markup, which implies that he would charge us beyond the hours for photography potentially. I'm not saying Mac would, so I'm not implying that he would. I'm just saying contractually here, John's right that there's not enough like definition around like illustration and the type of services he can provide, especially if we're asking him to do conservatorship. It's mentioning like illustration here or something. Like, to what extent is he going to charge an additional markup past the 8 hours a week, for example, for if we ask him to conserve something? We probably would need more clarity on that given that
Well,
contract provision.
so it says right here where you're looking at where it says unless otherwise stated, then does not include video photography, but on um this page here, new public art inventory collecting. So he has to take pictures and things like that to do the new public art inventory collecting. there's no way he can collect.
Yeah, you can leave it like that. And if something unusual comes up, then we'd fight the expense. But I don't like he's
But
not
I'll
gonna do that.
confirm. I'll
We're
confirm.
You're right, Summer. That's covered. That um, it's covered in there. And I know Mac. He's not gonna. But just I always think about if all of us disappear, you know, how does somebody pick this up? And so it's a clarity thing. But I think this is clear enough. I mean, we can move forward. So the only thing to me, the only thing that needs to be adjusted is the
48 hours.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and like suggest that
roll over
we,
month to
if
month.
someone
I
wants
don't
the
know what that
motion
I'm
to
means.
sorry, Andy. Andy, let John finish. I'm sorry, because I want to make sure I'm hearing whatever it is you guys need so that I can go back to Mac and state it. So,
Yeah,
John,
he
you
says
were saying the 48 hours?
yeah, because it's 6 months, 6 months, 6 times 8 is 48, so 48 hours, 6 times 8 is 48, so 48 hours. He says that they roll over month to month, but what would happen in December? They're going to roll over to January. So I'd rather just buy a block of his time. That's all we're doing. Now, he can always tell us I can only work this many hours this month or what have you, and that's something we have to work with him. But I would just make it 48 hours for a total of 7,440.
Okay.
So you're
Okay.
saying the 48 hours for the 6 months. And so if he have to do more than 8 hours in 1 month, just knowing that 48 hours is going to be it's the time
Yeah.
frame.
Yeah, but the next month he might do less. Yep.
Right. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of not clear that whether the budgeted hours always get charged, because if he mentioned that he's just invoicing for actual hours, do the budgeted hours just mean that he's magically like now available for 2 more hours the next month? That's the part that's not clear to me. If whether it's talking about availability for work or whether it's talking about the actual billed hours per month
What,
will always be 8. So
what he's trying
I,
to do
I
is
agree.
he's trying to create himself a monthly retainer.
Yeah.
And so
The retainer implies it's the same amount monthly too. So
right. And what we're saying is, bill us for what you worked each month until we've gobbled up 48 hours.
sure. And so I guess my recommendation would
I
be to move
do it,
forward with the same idea that we only go up to maybe like December, but that's just us determining how the hours get spent by Mac. So we would target having 8 hours of Mac to do per month from July now through December, with some flexibility in that, but then change the contract so that we're just paying for 48 hours, not tied to a specific block of time or start or end date. So more like a consumable bucket of hours. So if somebody wanted to motion to approve that, maybe we could just contingently approve that if we get the contract updated with that contract provision, that we're okay to move forward with it. We're not going to re-vote on it. Does anyone else have comments on it or want to make a motion to do that?
Well, I would like to motion that we accept the 48 hours with the time frame from July to December and not allocate 8 hours per month, but you having that time frame with that amount of hours.
Well, I see John's point. If we're paying for the 48 hours and it expires in December, I don't see the benefit of that. We're just having the 48 hours in general that we're paying for. Because we're not, I think what we're, well, I think what, Lisha, you might be seeing the same thing as John. You just want to take out the 8 hours per month and just have it so it's just open,
Yeah, so
right?
the revised motion is
My thing is if it's
adjust
if
the
there's it's summertime and he might want to do more, why is it summertime and going out to do all the pictures and everything, but we don't want him to be stuck to say, okay, I can't do any more than 8 hours because this is how much I'm gonna get paid for this month.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the new contract provision that John recommended would cover that specifically. So
Jessica,
so the motion is that
Megan, Roberta, you guys have any comments?
Roberta messaged me that she's having some audio issues, so
um
I don't know if she heard the whole thing, but I'm gonna keep her updated via text. Like if and when we possibly. Yeah. My only thought is I do think just putting the 48 hours, and I'm almost thinking just have it go past December, like you were saying, Andy, like that. I think that makes sense, and just change it to that 48 hours, like we mentioned, and that's
yeah,
my
it's a really good point by John for the flexibility. I agree with that too. I think it'd be better for us as a commission because we can't guarantee we're always going to be able to have the 8 hours. It's just hard as a commission to make sure we're going to be organized, like John said. So I think it just makes more sense to do it that way.
Jessica?
Yeah, same.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate your feedback. I mean, if Roberta was on, you said she's having trouble with her audio, so she can't.
Yes.
I'm texting her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll see if she can hop back on.
Okay. Well, if someone wants to make a motion, I know John had an understanding of what he wanted to do for the updated motion. So I'll leave that up to you guys since I can't make a motion.
So do you guys have quorum right now?
Larissa, you okay if I revise your motion?
So that's fine.
Okay, we're on the same page though. So yeah, so I just motion to revise Larissa's motion for the Art Love contract of buying a block of hours, 48 hours total.
So John motioned to revise Larissa's motion so that it's just 48 hours total in the contract provision. We'll go back to Mac 4 to then approve the contract. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, for $7,440. And this is also a revision of the contract that was approved in June's Public Art Commission meeting.
Yeah, correct. To remove the specifically the start and end dates from July to December, but to make it just 48 hours total. So do we have a second to that motion?
I second it.
So Larissa seconds John's revision to Larissa's original motion. So all in favor, say aye.
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 Hi.
Okay, so on that we have quorum. So Summer, the idea is to go back to Mac with the 48 hours and then we'll also like accept it then. So then we can set up a meeting with Mac after that if you're able to let me know. With legal, etc., whenever that's approved, so we can set up the meeting with Mac as soon as possible, if assuming he's okay with the new contract provision.
Okay, and then also, do you guys need clarity on the videography, the photos, or are you okay with what his contract states?
If he wants to add it in, it's not a bad thing to add it in, but I think that John and you pointed out that it's like ambiguous in the contract terms, but that, I mean, it says collection, and so
leave
those
it
things
as
are
it is.
implied to belong to the collection activity.
Leave it as it is.
Yeah.
So-
Okay,
It makes it easier.
okay,
Thanks, Summer.
you're welcome.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everyone, for the nice, concise communication. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to keep the meeting moving to new business. So we already introduced the commissioners. So we're going to move on to the submittable application. Summer,
They're
did you
not
get
available.
any feedback?
They're not available, so let's skip
Okay.
over that.
Okay, so we're not going to talk about that yet today. So we were talking about, Summer and I were talking about mural locations because part of the contingent funds we have, we're going to have extra money left over because we're not paying Mac for the full year of services. And so there was originally 14K budgeted for that. And then there was only a certain amount of the budget being put towards the second round of traffic boxes. And so there is extra money left over from the money allocated from the general budget for the Public Art Commission to put towards other projects. And so there's always the option of doing more traffic boxes and revise, or not even revising the prior motion, but doing a motion to do additional. Or we were talking about doing potential mural locations. Summer, did you want to present information specifically on that you were interested in presenting?
No, I don't know. No, I know we've talked about in the past doing a mural down Portage Path between
Yeah,
Marks
the
and
big
Santa.
spirally one. Yeah.
And then also, I just had a thought that what if we did a mural, and I would have to get approval from the city, but a mural on the city center parking deck.
Yeah, I mean, I would
kind
love to
of
see the one I told you. I would love to propose something more specific for the city center parking deck, assuming we get more photos. Um,
that, and also we still have that area at Rosa Parks Boulevard across the street from the bus station. There's an old mural there. It looks like it's jazz players. That's all like kind of crumbling, and it looks, it looks bad when you're close up. It looks good far away, but you have that whole large wall. So that would be another good location.
Is that city?
It's city owned property. That wall is city owned, yes.
Is that the big pink wall across from the bus station? Is that the one you're
So
talking
if you
about?
know, yes, where AAA is now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Okay, I helped paint that mural, so I remember that one. That's the one with the tire worker, right? In the spacesuit.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are great locations that, you know, are very visible. But I was also thinking of, the city center parking deck because it does wrap around. Um, so that would be a nice space to do a mural, especially when you go to like cities like Atlanta and Houston and other cities like that. They have like beautiful art on their parking.
Yeah, I've been to a few major cities, both in Ohio and abroad, and even to Montreal recently. And the amount of public art they have, like giant pieces of public art, Cincinnati, Toledo, etc., is like really crazy. They have these giant, beautiful murals. So I think it would be nice to start putting out, using some of the funding calls for artists to put murals up. But I know that one of our original points as a commission was also to have an equitable process where we're selecting to put art. And so I was curious on everyone's feedback. There might be other locations, and we have additional funding, by the way, so we need to determine how much we would want to put towards funding or doing a call for artists for individual projects on the public infrastructure, which is under our, rights as a commission to look for, or, a contract. But if somebody had ideas for locations, even in their individual wards, if we're looking at the art database, places where maybe it's necessarily underrepresented. Um, I know one area Summer pointed out is down there in Portage Path. I don't know that there's like a ton of public art on that road other than the one traffic signal box that we put down at the intersection down the road there. So I think that'd be a really nice spot right next to Sand Run. That gets a lot of traffic too. It's also on public infrastructure. That's that kind of barrier and the kind I call it the death curve because people try to hit me on that road, but when you're going down towards Sand Run, by the railroad tracks.
So when we're talking about doing the murals on those walls, are we looking? Because I'm the one that Summer was talking about over by the parking deck. That wall itself will need to be worked on before I think if you take even to taking the art off, I think it needs to be having some kind of maintenance to the wall itself before you put another mural on there. So are we looking at making sure that we're updating? Are we knowing what the cost's going to be able to update those walls first before you put the murals back up,
I
and the
don't know
condition
that
of the
um
surfaces?
I walked over there and I don't know that the old piece needs to be like de-accessed or removed. I know that the way that was installed was actually like a vinyl that was attached to the wall using like a special glue. And I don't know that the mural itself is in bad condition, but I do agree that the wall itself might need to be prepped for more traditional painting, but I don't know about that. Maybe we could have somebody advise on it, or if somebody on the commission has specific experience in the preparation of the wall, they could go look at it. Because I personally don't know what would need to go into preparing that. So I think we would need advice from the city, or others on how to approach that. That's a really good point.
When I looked at
What's,
the wall, oh, go ahead, Jessica.
I was just gonna say, what's the city's relationship with the like our national parks and stuff, like the
Summit Metro
county
Park.
parks? Yeah.
We have a good relationship with them. I know I had spoke with Lisa King, who is over Summit Metro Parks, when I was trying to get a grant, was that last year or the year before, to do a mural on the Portage Path
Mm-hmm.
wall. And she said, she said, bring some information to me and we can partner with it. And that's when I was trying to, get a grant for it, because we can tie it a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
It's to slow down traffic, it's also to maybe honor those that came before us. In that park area, it can be like art of history, things like that. So
Yeah.
there may be an opportunity to partner with Summit Metro Parks, and there could be an
Yeah.
opportunity. I'm not sure.
I saw recently, I think they did this in Columbus where they did, I'm really, really bad at measurements, but plywood wasn't too big, but it was like big enough for like one artist to like do an image on it, and they put it throughout the trails. And I was thinking like with the you know, with the situation and the uncertainty of our national parks, what's going on politically, that'd be a nice way to bring people more into the parks, the trails, take advantage of all the scenery that we have, because we really got some beautiful land and beautiful
Yeah.
landscapes. And I will like when I saw, like I didn't see these in person, I did see on pictures, but it looked really cool to like walk past something and have a nice piece of art right there in um on the trail in the park.
So I know that I'm actually friends with one of the events coordinators at Conservancy for Cauga Valley National Park, and I know a little bit about their arts programs. And I'm pretty sure there is some sort of program going on right now between like the city and the national park, and maybe another, maybe it's the I forget the other third organization, but I know the city does work with them. But I think part of the issue with the national park specifically and our boundaries as the Public Art Commission is that we are not fully into the national park through the city limits, even though it's in Summit County. So the parks that are actually close to us are Hampton Hills Metro Park and O'Neill Woods Metro Park, where there's the Big Red Barn, if you know where that's at, on I think Yellow Creek Road. I think they're both right down the road from each other. But then there's the whole neighborhood or area of the ward that goes all the way up into the roads, east of Adams Run or Hampton Hills Metro Park, where we'd be available to put art. And so there's, I think, a chance, and there's the heron viewing area there too. I'm not exactly sure where the city boundary is. I know the Akron wastewater treatment plant's right there. There's potential for art still in the area that's kind of considered or right next to Cauga Valley National Park, by Hampton Hills, by O'Neill Woods, by the wastewater treatment plant. We have the new wastewater treatment plant. Maybe you want to beautify the entrance to that area or something. There is public infrastructure all around that area. And then like Summer was saying, the Summit Metro Parks is another entity that, she was talking about reaching out to work with like Lisa King. So, there are areas that we could look at. I don't think there's traffic signal boxes or any sort of a ton of public infrastructure up that road. And so I think one of the big challenges there is that there's not necessarily a bunch of like hard things to paint on. So I'm curious about what sort of materials we could actually use for installation of art up in that area. But I did see on the public art inventory that there wasn't a ton of art up in that area. So it would be interesting to talk about if you want to look at it with me more.
Yeah, that's what I said. Some plywood. We're basically some plywood, attach it to something, maybe even put a post out there, and it could be interchangeable instead of like doing something really big that's gonna last for years. I feel like more interchangeable things that would, like I said, bring more attention to the parks, especially
Yeah.
Did they do something like that with the over by Summit Lake, where they had those? If you go down that trail, I think when I first went there, when they first opened up, I think put those pictures of different things in the neighborhood.
Mhm.
That's what they put it on. It's more like a wood piece, and they got it staked on a walking trail.
Yep.
That's what
Something
you're
like
referring to?
Yep, something, yep,
Okay.
just like that. Something like that. I feel like, that give a lot of artists a lot of, we can open this up to more artists. Like I said, promote the trails. Like you said, Summer Lake, it's beautiful down there. Like they did a really, really nice job
Yep.
down there. And
There's also the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition, by the way, which, also kind of, works in that same environment at Summit Lake with the pump house and the Summit Metro Parks trails in the city of Akron on the Summit Lake property. So those are all
that'd be
those are all entities to think about.
that'd be a good partnership. Plus, they might have money where they could even, to,
Friends
to
of
part.
Metro Parks has a lot of money, so that's one good thing. We just pull from them. Got a question for you. I know now the traffic boxes is getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, I agree.
Have we talked to? Because my suggestion would be that we do additional traffic boxes. But have we talked to each one of the council persons to see if they have or any dollars that we can leverage to as we do those to have additional ones in their ward?
That's true, but I also think that we have funding that we have to, we have the 50K allocated and we're spending less money on the services for Mac. And we're spending, we have the 3,500 that we didn't spend even from our own funds. There's a lot of funds to spend. And I think the traffic box is relatively affordable. So I'm curious, if we could just take like even Roberta's suggestions or go out to council members or even, reach out to the community. We already talked about doing a second round of traffic boxes if we did even more, it'd be great to like, solicit maybe ideas now. We distributed a lot of them around the city about like specific areas that people would like to see them in, including city councilors. I think that'd be a great idea, Larissa.
I have in the past reached out to city council to ask, hey, give me your thoughts of where you would like boxes to be. Um, didn't really get a good feedback. I can reach out one more time and see what they say. I have been going out, driving around, trying to take pictures during traffic stops um, to just try to find some other locations, and I can try to have that uploaded and sent to you guys. But you all should have the information from when we did this last time of all the locations um, that were like high traffic spots. I can try to see if I can get some help again to give us maybe the top 20, 30 locations again, um, to provide to you all to make a decision on location.
Yeah, I mean, after going through the whole experience, even just driving through my ward now, I've seen ones that would be like good. I guess just from anecdotal evidence and experience driving down the roads too. So I know Roberta pointed the one out on Exchange Street. So I can think of one over by the Dunkin' Donuts in Elliott off of 76, for example. Like that one was one of the ones that we were looking at but didn't choose. I know that would be like a great area. So I wonder if we could also just present areas that'd be
Yeah, that's what I asked you for. If you guys can
yeah,
just give me locations, right? Streets, connecting streets. And then when I have time, I can go out and take a picture of it or even
yeah.
um, pull a picture off of
Oh, cool.
Google Maps, to make it easier on me. Um, but I need your input. You guys are the commission. I need you to tell me areas that you would like, and then I can do the other work. But I don't want to go out to all these places, and use my time and my gas and all that. And then we come back and we say, oh, no, we don't want that. So you guys tell me what you want, please.
Well, I
Oh,
do
that's
have
good.
one when it comes to the traffic signal boxes. I feel like so we know they're cool. They are beautiful. Y'all know how y'all know where I stand with those. But I would like to have more meaning to them. And when I say that, like I understand, like us, residents of Akron, Summit County, just driving through and seeing the beautiful work of local artists. I get that. But what about if we had a I think it'd be more meaningful to have them more close to like the getting on and off the ramps of the highways. For like out of town people that go through and visit, like just getting off and doing the exit and then see something beautiful. Like this is what we do in here, Akron. Like this is the talent we have here in Akron. Um, cause just I mean, y'all know how I feel about these boxes. But I feel like if we had, I feel like I can get more on board if it had like a meaning, if it had like, more people's gonna be able to see it. Like, I think that's what
Yeah, I
I'm
think
like.
that's fair. Like, what is the in-town traffic versus out-of-town traffic going by an intersection? We don't necessarily have stats on that, but we can assume out-of-town traffic is coming off a highway. That's a good point.
Those are the pictures that I have been taking, Jessica. It's just
Um,
sometimes you're at a red light trying to hang out the window with your phone and the light turns green.
Yeah.
So I have been collecting photos in those areas because I feel the same way, right? But that's just my thought of um, exit ramps that have big visible traffic signal boxes, not the small ones, not the ones that's hidden behind the guardrail, the ones that are just out in the open. So
So I do want to move the meeting forward. We did get a little bit of initial discussion on the mural locations. I would like to send an email out like with some of the ideas that Summer talked about and I talked about, and maybe like Larissa also talked about, and Jessica, like maybe the things with the arts, like the piece of wood by the parks. Let's start a conversation on it, in an email after the meeting. There are a few other things we wanted to cover before the end of the meeting here, which is potentially the potential for in-person meetings in August and November. Would a significant amount of us be interested in doing in person? I'm completely willing to come in person for August. I think it would be
I think
fun
Megan
to
got a
get to see
stand
everyone.
up. Do you see Megan's hand up?
Yeah, I see Megan's hand up. Hey,
Oh, she
Megan.
tried.
Yeah, I just have some comments about previous conversations. I know we're
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
move the meeting along Just so you know, so Mac worked with Links Community and Family Services here in Middlebury to do sort of like a what we were talking about, like a wood panel mural, and it did come down during a storm, but like he knew how to fix it, but it just like it hasn't gone back up. So like he does have experience with that. So I think since we have him on retainer kind of, we could ask him about that and see like the best opportunities for like free form places that don't have necessarily the infrastructure for us to put art on, how we can make things. And then in terms of the mural locations, I have some ideas, Andy, that I can also send you. I also think like working with like the local CDCs would be a really good idea to get some like mural locations, because like East Akron Neighborhood Development Corporation, they have some really good ideas, and they have some really good traffic signal boxes over by the highways over there. So we could possibly
Yeah.
talk to them, and also all the other CDCs for some options, because like West Hill Neighborhood Organization, like they have some good spots for murals. Like there's a lot of good opportunities for that. So I can just send
Yeah.
some things.
Yeah, I think the only thing we need to make sure when we reach out to CVC, we're like clear on what would be a mural on private versus public property and what areas are public property. But it'd be an interesting thing to draw out with them and have a conversation about too, or where a good or public or very visible spot for a mural could be. So I like that idea. I know that the CVCs always have like a lot of good insight into those things, so I think that's a great idea.
Megan, would you be a good person to appoint to reach out to the CDCs
I
on our behalf?
know a lot of them.
Mhm.
I mean, some are like, is there any law things that I have to think about?
We could just talk to them. There's no law against that. I mean, we're citizens, so we say there's a good idea for a mural XYZ, and we're allowed to submit ideas as citizens too, and as
That's
commissioners. So
You're talking
okay.
about just going to talk to CDCs and ask like good locations?
How they feel about having something here, where would they would like to see it? Like Andy said, was private
yeah,
versus public.
yeah. So I
Right.
know Zach Cole, and I know people from North Hill CDC as well, but I don't know anyone from Kenmore or some of the other
Well,
areas like
Tina
Summit Lake.
Boys
So
and all of them are from Kenmore, but you know,
Yeah, I know a
I mean,
few.
yeah, you can ask like where's a good location for a mural in their neighborhood, and I mean, they would know what's
Mhm.
private versus what's public.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so you can do that, or even if you guys wanted to create like a mini survey and we push it out to the community, we can have a survey out for 30 days and do a press release on it. And hey guys, we put out traffic signal boxes. We're looking to do murals and more traffic signal boxes. Please give us your
Mhm.
feedback. It can be like a 4 question, it can be a 5 question survey.
Yeah,
sure.
I think that's a good idea, and I think a great start, if Megan is comfortable with it, is she can reach out to them, talk to them, see how they feel about it, see if they know about us, what we've been doing, and we can move forward from there with the information she brings back to us. I think having one person do it um, be much better than us all contacting
Yeah,
people. So if Megan is comfortable doing it, Megan, I do not want to throw nothing on you.
I'm
That's not
comfortable
gonna
with Megan
work
reaching out personally, so I'm okay with that too. I'm on board. I
out.
mean, I'm sure any of us could reach out independently regardless, but if Megan, if you want to like, reach out and see if you could come up with some ideas that way.
For sure.
Even like
Um,
the um like Kevin and Kiera, like, I mean, I know they can't vote or anything like
mhm.
that, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you guys have any thoughts on murals or things like that?
Excuse me.
I really feel
I
Oh,
about
did
these.
you
don't.
guys leave us? Are we boring you guys?
No, no. I was gonna say I don't have any specific location ideas that are coming up per se right now. But in the email chain, I could definitely kind of look around and submit some ideas.
How do you feel about the boxes? How do you feel about them as a whole?
The boxes.
Yes.
I was actually gonna ask if I could get a location. I don't think that I've actually passed any, but I do know that it's just my commute. I don't believe that I pass any on my daily commute. So I live, but I, to be fair, live right off of Route 8. So I don't pass too many, and I'm trying to think if I've seen any.
So are you more
So
like not like you don't really ride the streets, you're more like a highway person?
I am, because I work in Shaker, so I am right off the highway, right
Yep.
off, right on.
Ooh, I was just
Okay.
at the Rising Star in Van Aken district. I like it up there. They put the little grass out.
I think those
Yes.
highways.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do like that little area. It's nice.
Yeah, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
Um,
is.
Kevin, how about you? Do you have any ideas?
Um, I'm I'm going to mirror what Kiara said in terms of specific mural locations. I would need to give that a little thought, and be
Right.
more um, cognizant, if you will, of the possibility of that. That cognitive bias kind of brings things to your attention once it gets discussed. Kind of the, oh, no one has this car until I get it, and now that I have
Yes.
one, I see them everywhere. That kind of thing. So now
Mm,
my
Yeah.
mind is more in tune to looking at potential spaces for that. As it relates to the traffic boxes, if I'm correct on this, there is a traffic box near the corner of Exchange Street and Maple. Am I correct? It looks like a donut box. Is that what we're
Yeah,
referring to?
yeah,
Yes.
by the BMW. Yes.
It's
So
Yeah,
genius.
that's it.
It's genius, in my opinion. It's the very first one that I noticed, for obvious reasons. I thought it was very cleverly done, seeing as how it's close to the Krispy Kreme.
Well, we had a
Um,
lot
yes,
of conversations on that box, Kevin.
conversation.
really. So, was there pro and con conversations, or everyone was in, agreement, or what?
We were
I
kind of
doubt.
like debating on giving attribution to businesses for like a
Yeah.
public infrastructure project, but I think a lot of people were like, it's like historical because of Krispy Kreme in Akron. So I think there was like some debate on what that meant.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. I tend to be of that camp. I thought that it was cleverly done.
I liked
Oh,
it too. I thought I liked
Yeah,
the design a lot on that one.
definitely
yeah.
one of my favorites. I love seeing that one. That's definitely one of
It,
my favorites. They're like, you gotta go to Krispy Kreme now. Like,
it was fantastic. Yes, yeah.
Right.
It did inspire me to go get a dozen of glaze. As I probably didn't need that, but I thought it was very cleverly done. And I would be in favor of those kind of continued representations, if you will, not necessarily just of for-profit entities, but
yeah.
anything that is nostalgic like that, that
Mm-hmm.
ultimately brings that forward, in terms of a representation or depiction in art, I think is very cleverly done.
Yeah, we had conversations about that too. For example, on the Goodyear signs, since there was some photography that represented the Goodyear company logo in some of the boxes too, and being nostalgic to Akron, etc. So I really like the
Yeah.
feedback, Kevin. It's definitely something to think about. I agree with you about the knowledge coming up as you drive. Like I said, now that it's been like over a year we've been discussing it, I've had the same thing where I've seen locations. Um, just to be cognizant of everyone's time, I'm gonna go ahead and move forward to like the last few statements 'cause I think we're supposed to wrap up around 5:30. So the in-person meetings we can talk about outside. So I'm just gonna skip that for now. In August, there would be voting on new leadership, which I believe we have to do every so often, right, Summer?
Every year.
Every year. Yeah, so I'm okay being the chair again if you guys vote me to be the chair. But there's also I think Larissa is um there's a secretary and treasurer. I think John's treasurer and Larissa is secretary. Is that correct?
No, Larissa is the vice chair, John
Vice chair.
secretary, and
You're secretary. Are you secretary, Summer? Are there four
John's the
positions or
secretary.
three?
I think I'm the secretary.
John's the secretary,
I
and
can stay or I don't care. I can give it up. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. So other than mine, I'd be willing to do mine again going to the future to build off the momentum of getting the funds back in and leading project work outside, which, even if I'm not, I'll still contribute. So um yeah, I guess I'll put that out there. But something to think about. So when we're coming back and voting, there's the chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. So in terms of those positions, if you're interested in doing one of those, think about that and maybe like declare your interest or think about declaring it and we come back for the next meeting because we have to vote on it yearly on these positions. So just it's something to put thought in for the next meeting. And then the last thing is the state of the arts sponsorship and attendance. Summer sent out an email. I don't know if you guys looked at it. There was three different levels for sponsorship availability for the state of the arts. I'm on board with sponsoring it. I think it would be a great way to get the art commission name out there, but I'm not sure which one would be good or if anyone has thoughts on it.
So I oppose sponsoring it.
Oppose?
I don't think it's, we're listening to the mayor tell us that the city has no money, in his state of the city address. And here we are sponsoring this event. I think if we want to be present or whatever, I think we could do so by, buying some individual seats, but to sponsor it, I think we risk sending an incorrect message. And I just don't think I don't think it's a responsible use of the dollars. And I think even next year, we could be even challenged to have, need more dollars and not have the resources for it. So I think, I'm just not for it.
You would be in favor of
We want to get the
using the
Akron, we want to
dollars
get the public
towards
art
like the
commission name out
contingent
there, but
projects or more traffic boxes or otherwise,
or conserve or for conservation or for things that need to be addressed. I'm not opposed to, if I end up with some extra tickets or something like that, sharing it with all of you. If indeed that's going to be the case, I don't know yet. But I just don't think I don't think the general public is going to say, oh, look who sponsored. They're just not. Certainly Arts Now is well aware of the Public Art Commission. It's part of the Arts and Cultural Plan. But I think when one or two of us go, um, I think, I think that says enough, but I don't feel like we're being responsible, especially from anyone to the mayor, to say this is what we need and this is what we're trying to do. And then also I hear directly from the mayor as well as at his speech that, the city doesn't have any money. And Summer, you've echoed the same thing when we've tried to have, we're paying somebody to do minutes and all that. I think we can make a presence in other ways. And again, I'm willing to take a look at what the uh cost of each ticket is and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, I
No,
mean, I would be interested in getting a
that's-
seat to the event, even talking to Cole about us being able to speak. That would be a great way to do it too, is if, during the State of the Arts event, if we're actually able to get someone to speak about the kind of projects we're looking to do, that could be good too, or presenting on some of the projects we did, as opposed to doing the sponsorship. I'd be okay with getting the seats too. I kind of just want to go to an event and publicly talk to people since the only time we got to do that so far was the Leadership Akron, I believe. So I feel like the public art, I know Roberta's actually everywhere, so Roberta's really pulling all the weight here, but getting the commissioners out to like talk to people and interface. So even if it's just buying seats, I think it would be nice to, go.
yeah,
I'll
so
buy my own seat to be honest, but I don't mind.
okay, well, save some more money. Thanks. No,
Buy
but
my seat.
I just brought this to everyone's attention because I was reviewing it and I said, oh, I did not want you not to have the opportunity if you did want to sponsor, right? So that's all your decision. I was just trying to bring the information to you all. The tickets are, I think $85 a person. So if you want to go, just let me know and I can just talk to Nicole Arts Now of how many people want to go and get the tickets that way. Or if you guys get your own tickets, then that would whoever else wanted to go, we would just pay for that out the commission.
Yeah, most likely I'll be there and I'll be there through different funding. And so obviously I can wear two hats or more. And so don't worry about me.
Okay.
I'd be interested in going. Um, I know that the new commissioners, also getting to introduce people, would be good, but I don't see a reason, $85 a ticket, we could have the commissioners go pay for tickets. It's less than the sponsorship. Like John said, I'm not sure what your opinion is on that, John, in terms of being a good fiduciary to the funds and spending wisely.
Yeah, I think just
Well,
buying individual tickets and stuff. Hey, y'all, I have to go because I'm going to be late to my next meeting, but
Oh,
good
no worries.
conversation. Reach out to me if you need anything. Thanks.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, John.
I mean, you guys have the money, you have the money budgeted and allocated to be able to do training, to be able to do events. So all I would say is if you say yes and we buy your ticket, please show up. That's my biggest thing. Let's not waste money if you're not able to show up.
Well, let's do
So
this
is that
then.
Eric?
Let's the State of the Arts isn't until October, so we have a full month, and I'm pretty sure we could probably buy tickets
We
within.
don't, no, we don't. I need to know, I would say by the end of this month because ticket prices go up to 110.
Well, could we just ask?
I mean, it's just like with anything, you plan for it, right? So yes, it's in October. If you know you want to go, let's get the tickets now versus paying
No, it's just that we're presenting it like in the last 2
700.
days, so we're asking people to commit to show up to something. If they look at their
No,
schedule.
no, I'm not saying right now. It's not to vote on it. I'm just saying by the end of July, or by next meeting, if you could say yes or no. If you
Oh
don't want
yeah,
to
by the
say
next meeting, so that'd be like a month,
yeah,
basically.
I just as public art events that we discuss every meeting, I just put that in there because I knew about it and I wanted you all to be aware of it, as well as talk if you wanted to be a sponsor or not. So yeah,
Okay.
everyone.
Yeah, I'm interested in
Here, I just
attending.
wanted
I
to.
don't, I think it'd be fine to spend the funds to go. We talked about doing either training or an event or something else. So I personally think we should, you know, I personally think we should just go interact with the public. And I think it'd be a good space to do it. Arts Now is like obviously like what the bigger nonprofit organizations monitoring art in Akron. So there's gonna be a lot of people there we can go network with. So
Guys, hey Andy. Sorry,
yeah.
I have to go, but I just want before I head out, I want to congratulate our girl Jessica, because she is now on the diversity on board class 10. I believe that's true. Yes, so I just wanted to give her a shout out because she's lovely and wonderful. And I'm sorry that I have to go. I don't need to go to this next event. If I
Mhm.
do, I can probably get work to pay for it. So I will let you know about that. Thank you all so much for all the work that you do. Have a great month and let's talk on email. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Jessica. I was class one, so you know we set the pace for you guys.
I'm
So congratulations.
excited. I really am. Thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
so here we're at the end of the meeting now. So we know about the state of the arts, etc. I see we have Eric on. Eric jumped on just to join us all. I see him in his car there. So, Eric, we do have two new commissioners that haven't been through council yet. They're joining today's meeting to listen in on. We have Kiara Warren and Kevin Smith. I didn't know if you wanted to introduce yourself to them real quick before we close the meeting in.
Well, you pretty much did it though, so thank you, sir. I am Eric Reynolds, part of the commission as well. Been on here for 3.5 years, some believe so. Um, yeah, that's it. I'm just a geek. Stir things up and I give Andy all the hell that he needs, and that's it.
Yeah, Eric has a lot of opinions on Chapel Hill traffic box locations.
Oh my goodness, here we go.
He's
Yes, I
also an
do.
engineer, so he likes to bring the engineering mindset. That's his words.
Oh,
And
that's
you know,
Engineering and
awesome.
actually,
construction.
What kind of engineer?
I'm a mechanical engineer, 30 years.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
all
welcome
right. So
aboard. Appreciate
you
you.
see. Our next meeting
yeah,
is going to be Wednesday, August 13th, and we'll provide more information on this, but I guess we could plan to do it in person. So if we just set the expectation now that we'll do a hybrid meeting, summer, if that's possible, on August 13th.
we can do hybrid. But I know the mayor did ask, you know, that we do make some in-person meetings. Um, so we want to be mindful of that, especially when we're asking for more money. We have to, you know, follow suit and, you know, come in person. So if we can be in person August 13th, we will meet at City Council chambers here at 166 South High Street, which is City Hall, and we'll just be in person for the meeting. And if people need to be a hybrid, Eric, no exceptions, you must be present. We will do it together in council chambers.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah. I'll be
that
there.
means if everyone is in person, then we will not have to record it on Zoom because it will be open to the community to come and participate, which I think would be pretty nice too for residents to come in and be a part of the conversation.
Okay. All right.
So,
So
Summer,
then I'm gonna go ahead and say if someone can make a motion to adjourn the
I think
Wednesday,
someone had a
July 9th,
question, Andy.
2025. Huh?
I
I think
was
someone had a question.
I was asking Summer if it's hybrid, we can't open it up to the public hybrid, or I have to be total in person.
I mean, if it's hybrid, I mean, long as we're in person and we have, yeah, long as we're in person, we can still open it up. But
Okay.
I don't want it to be like two people in person, everybody else hybrid with, tons of people there. So, I would like to, follow the mayor's recommendation and as many as of can't talk. As many of us as possible.
If
That
you're
can
free,
be,
you should come. That's what Summer's saying. If you're free, you should be there or be
yeah.
square,
Thank you.
as they say in the olden days.
The olden days. Wow, this guy. Look at this guy.
Okay.
With
Yes.
that, wait,
So
was there any public comments, Summer?
there's no public comments, but I will ask that you all send me locations. Like just let's just have one big group chat, right? Maybe the email that I sent, well, I'll have to send a new email, but with Kevin and Kira on it. But let's communicate off of one email, one chain with give me your locations, so that I can go about, and take pictures and send it to you all and not wait until next meeting because I still have a job along with this job. So I can't always get out and drive around.
Yeah.
Thoughts on murals. I think Megan's going to go talk to whoever it is, well, the
The
CDCs.
CDCs, yeah.
And you all have your own connections too. So please engage with some of those people. Also, let's think about if we want to do a quick survey, like a 4 or 5
Yeah.
question survey, push it out to the community, um, get some feedback that way too. So it's all
And the
about the
other thing,
community.
Summer, if you could get me access to the art inventory, the ArcGIS online website. I know that we had login info. It would be nice to get the login info for that so I could start running the reports so that as soon as we have the contract approved for Mac, we can set up that meeting to talk about the maintenance plan.
In Summer, I would say send out the photos for the boxes to the new members so they can see what other images that we hadn't used, and the ones that we have already gone up.
Anything else? And I'll reach out to City Council again and ask their thoughts. And I think August, no later than September, we probably need to solidify like the boxes, the call of artists. Even if we want to do the call of artists, write it up and approve it, and write it out in push it out in August, so that then by our September meeting, we can have, you guys can vote on what art, and then by then we can know what boxes. We don't have to do the boxes now. We can do the call for art now. That way we'll have stuff we can go off of. So if we're trying to get a second round of boxes this year, we need to, get to working on it.
Yeah. So do we have quorum to adjourn the meeting? We have me, Eric, Larissa, and Jessica. I think Roberta fell off. That's 4 people. Is that enough? I think that's enough.
No, quorum is
No?
5 when you
We
have
need
not.
one more.
Yeah. So you can just close the meeting out and you can end the meeting.
Yeah. All right, I'll do that, and then we'll adjourn at the beginning of the next meeting. I'll write a note for it.
Oh, Haley. I know we had voted on it before, but who's taking the minutes for this? And hopefully with new commissioners and things like that, we can, because you guys are gonna kill your funding paying for someone to do the minutes.
We
And
could
my
talk
intern,
about that next time when we're talking about leadership positions and what people want to do in terms of their volunteer work outside the commission. So,
Yes, let's say or when we talk about positions, Andy.
yeah, that's what, yeah. But we need somebody to take these minutes for this meeting.
Summer,
I
if
can
you send,
volunteer.
I would say if you send me the recording, I can do it also.
Yeah, I'll watch the recording back anyways, probably
What you
to
can do
take
is go to
notes on.
YouTube.
So,
If you go to
Yep.
YouTube and put in today's date,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to pull up the meeting.
Okay.
I'll put something together. That's fine. I'll just volunteer to do it this time. There we have it for next meeting. I'll send it
Are
out.
you sure, Andy? You volunteer for a lot of stuff now. You have commissioners that can do the work too. So um
I'll just do it. That's easy.
one of y'all
So,
figure it out and somebody take the meetings just minutes and just send it to me by the week before the next commission meeting. So you
um, so
Andy, with you traveling and visiting all the time, I know you said you don't want to stretch yourself.
we'll see. I might
Yeah.
get to go to Asia this year for FICA. It'll be interesting. Might get to go to like Malaysia or Vietnam or something. So, I just got appointed to be the HR department FICO Cares steering committee member. So I get to decide how FICO
Congratulations.
spends money for the community. So we'll see if I can get them to spend money on public art.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, all right. So on the meeting, we'll adjourn at the beginning of next meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and end the Wednesday, July 9th, 2025 Public Art Commission meeting to be adjourned at the beginning of the next meeting due to the lack of members for quorum.
All right.
So that's all I got. I won't keep you guys forever.
It was nice meeting everyone. I look forward to seeing you in person next month.
Yep.
Yeah,
Great to meet you, Kiara. Excited to meet you guys.
Bye.
Nice to meet you, Kevin. Thanks. Thank you,
Kara
guys.
and
You as
Kevin,
well.
are you
You as
two
well.
available for, are you
I'm
two
sorry.
available? Let me end this YouTube. Hold on one moment.
Okay.
Kiera, I like
Kevin
Kiera.
and Kiara can stay on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone said my name, but you were breaking up a bit.
I was saying I like to see some of your art.